The alarm that shattered the pre-dawn quiet wasn't the usual zone disturbance warning. This was the deep, bone-rattling sound reserved for incoming hostiles, 3 long blasts that sent every person in Blackthorn scrambling for their posts. Kael rolled out of his narrow bunk as emergency lighting bathed the dormitory in hellish red. Around him, other cadets grabbed gear and weapons with practiced efficiency. But this wasn't a drill, and everyone knew it. Movement on the perimeter, someone shouted from the corridor. Multiple signatures, approaching fast. Not yet, the frequency whispered urgently. Fragment 2 remains distant. This is something else. Kael pulled on his boots and sprinted for the command center, his heart hammering against his ribs. 3 days, they were supposed to have 3 days to prepare. But as he burst through the doors into the nerve center of Blackthorn's defenses, the tactical displays told a different story. False alarm, Commander Okafor announced, his voice cutting through the chaos. Stand down. Repeat, stand down. The room deflated like a punctured balloon. Tension bled away into nervous laughter and muttered complaints. But Okafor's eyes found Kael across the crowd, and the look they shared said everything. This had been a test. A dry run. And they'd failed it spectacularly. 6 hours later, Kael found himself flat on his back in the training yard, Sable's hardlight blade hovering inches from his throat. Dead, she announced flatly. Again. Sweat stung his eyes as he gasped for breath. They'd been at this for 2 hours, combat drills that pushed every stolen ability to its limit. His resonance felt raw, overextended, like a muscle worked past exhaustion. I'm trying, he wheezed. Trying isn't good enough. Sable dismissed her blade and offered him a hand up. When Petrov gets here, he won't give you time to think. Time to hesitate. He'll drain you while you're still deciding what to do. Her grip pulled him upright, and he felt the familiar electric tingle where their skin touched. The frequency cataloged her power signature automatically: conductor discipline, high-tier integration, optimal drain value, but he pushed the thoughts away. You're getting stronger, she admitted grudgingly. The stolen abilities are integrating better. But integration without technique is just expensive suicide. From across the yard, Ghost materialized, literally stepping through the concrete wall like it was made of mist. Her abilities had stabilized over the past few days, the constant presence of another fragment bearer somehow helping her regain control. He's right to hesitate, she said, studying Kael with those 2 old eyes. Petrov never hesitated. Never questioned. The archive fragment made every decision feel logical, necessary, efficient. Her form flickered slightly. That's what made him so dangerous. And that's what's going to get Kael killed, Sable shot back. Moral quandaries are luxury items. We can't afford them. Can't we? Ghost stepped closer, her voice dropping to something barely above a whisper. I've seen what happens when fragment bearers stop questioning their impulses. 17 corpses can attest to the efficiency of that approach. The training yard fell silent except for the distant hum of the outpost's generators. Kael could feel the weight of their expectations, Sable demanding ruthless pragmatism, Ghost warning against it, both of them preparing him for a confrontation he wasn't sure he could survive. There's another way, he said finally. Both women looked at him with skeptical expressions. We don't have to fight him alone. The 3 of us together. No. Ghost's interruption was absolute. You don't understand what you're suggesting. Fragment bearers in close proximity amplify each other's abilities. 3 of us in the same space. She shuddered. The resonance cascade could tear a hole in reality. Make the original fracture look like a small crack. Kael felt the frequency stir with interest at that possibility, filing away the information for later use. From the command center, Okafor's voice echoed across the training ground through the intercom system. all personnel to defensive positions. We have incoming signals. The three of them exchanged glances, combat training forgotten. It's too early, Sable said, but she was already manifesting hardlight armor around her torso. Kael reached out with his stolen abilities, feeling for the approaching presence. What he found made his blood turn to ice water. Not one signal. Multiple signals, burning across his enhanced senses like stars going supernova. And they weren't coming from the expected direction, northeast, where Petrov should be approaching. They were coming from everywhere. How many? Ghost asked, her form already beginning to phase. Kael closed his eyes and let the frequency paint the tactical picture across his consciousness. When he opened them again, his face was pale. 7. There are 7 of them. The convoy wasn't bringing Fragment 2. It was bringing all of them.